Welcome everyone to Organizing the Impossible. Organizing the Impossible. Who wants to believe that it is possible to organize your crazy stuff, your craziest stuff? So let's just dig in, and we're going to start the way we always start, by landing. So for some of you, you're moving, you're doing things. That's great. Keep on keeping on. For anyone who can stop, we're just going to take 30 seconds to just land. So go ahead and just allow yourself to sit. Take a nice deep breath, and as you exhale, allow yourself to sink into that chair or into the earth or wherever you are, just an inch deeper. Take a deep breath in and invite in positive energy, this beautiful feeling of connection tonight, open-heartedness. Exhale and release anything that is not in your highest good, anything that is causing you stress and strain and overwhelm. Breathe in again, allowing yourself to fill up, and exhale, releasing any stress or overwhelm. Know that this next 90 minutes is just for you. This is your time, and I honor the fact that you have given this time to yourself for us to spend these minutes together, giving you a foundation of this next chapter that feels less stressful, less chaotic, less overwhelming, and more clear and free and peaceful. That is what we're creating tonight. So I honor you for being here. I thank you for giving some of your time to us tonight, for bringing your beautiful positive energy. And I'm excited to move forward with tonight's class. So go ahead, and when it feels right to you, just slowly start to open your eyes. I am so grateful for all of you to be here. Tonight we are a family. This time we are coming together to do something really powerful. Right? And I don't mind what you do. Some of you have your cameras off because you feel so glam tonight. Others of you have them off because you want to organize something. This is your time. You do whatever you want. I fully support you. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you experience the most freedom, the most clarity, and the most joy in your life. So let's jump in. All right. So we're going to talk tonight about the impossible clutter, right? So we're going to first and foremost define what is impossible clutter, because that seems like a little ambiguous, right? It's like, okay, I mean, I know what my impossible clutter is, but like, what is it collectively for all of us? I'm going to share 5 powerful solutions for handling that impossible clutter in your life. Like, what are the things you need to know to really get ahead of it? We're going to have an open conversation about your clutter. Right? Like, the idea of clutter is great and waxing philosophy is wonderful. But if that was enough, we would have all like read a book in 1992 and been like, oh, good, I'm solved. Ha ha. And yet we're all still here. So we're going to move it from theory into practice. And then we're going to talk about why these standard organizing processes don't seem to work, why we've all been on this train of like, I'm trying and it doesn't seem to work. So we're going to talk about why it's not working, and then what actually works to set you free from clutter. Right? And it's really not what you think. It's so different. Like, let's leave the boxes and the labels and the superficial concepts of getting organized out of it, because we are going somewhere deeper tonight and somewhere rich that we can really make a shift in life. And so those of you who want to take notes of what I'm saying, one of the things that drives me crazy is when I take a class and somebody buzzes through their slides and I don't have a chance to write anything down, and I can't even take a picture because I don't know when they're done. You're going to know when I'm done. When you see that little star in the lower corner, that means that is everything you're going to see on this slide. The minute you see that star, take your picture. I'm a big fan of do a screenshot, take a picture, make sure that you've got everything on there. So once you see that star, you know you've gotten everything that you need to get that picture, and then we're going to move on. I'll give you a little bit of time to do it. So just be aware of that. All right. So y'all ready to get going? Yes, I see good nodding heads. Yes. So we are going to talk about Sarah. And Sarah, everyone, is in the room tonight. So we are so blessed to have Sarah with us tonight. What an absolute treat. Normally when I share case studies, we're talking theoretical, right? And we're actually going to get a chance to talk to Sarah tonight, which is really cool. So let's do that. So Sarah wanted to organize her hallway closet of shame. Now, it's funny because when I look at this picture, I'm like, it doesn't look that bad. It's not that big. Her tween son can fit in that shelf. Like just like across one of them, you can fit a human body. Like, he's probably my height. So this is not a small closet, and it is packed to the gills. And Sarah was like, yeah, this needs to get done. And she leaned into that project and she started to work on it. She was like, yes, let's do this closet of shame. Shame no more. We're going to do it. And She did it. Yay, Sarah. Huge yay, right? So let's there, 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 there. Yeah. So really, really good. So Sarah made this huge progress, right? And what? It felt amazing. And she felt proud of herself. And then there was a little thing that happened. Then she kept feeling this like haunting feeling because she organized it, but like there was still a bag of leftover stuff that she didn't know what to do with. Does anyone ever have that? Like you organize something and you're like, yes. And then you're like, but I don't know what to do with this stuff. So like, we'll just shove it somewhere and I'll pretend like it's not there. So she had this like bag or box of stuff and she didn't know what to do with it. And so she felt like that failure feeling of just like, well, did I really finish? Like, I mean, is it done? Like, and that haunting feeling of like, it's just hanging over your head, like wanting to like it's going to come and get you at any time. And you don't really feel like you can celebrate the beautiful progress that you've made because I didn't finish. So right, so we just want to like acknowledge that comes up for all of us like when we're working on it. And so what did we do? So she laid it all out like I've taught her in class. She laid it all out and she looked at it, and here it is in all of its beautiful glory on her living room floor. Isn't that gorgeous, everyone? And I worked with her. We did a micro organizing session. A micro organizing session is just where I work with you one-on-one and we literally don't stop until it's done. And we did a micro organizing session to stop this crazy making clutter. So this is the clutter she keeps avoiding and moving from one place to another place to another place to another place until she's finally face to face with it. So this was the face to face. And we did that session. And while we were doing that session, for any of you who've watched the video, you will know Sarah had to meet some pretty intense, challenging patterns as she worked on this stuff. It sounds like, oh, it's just a little bit of stuff in a bag, except that like, no, it's not. It's definitely not. So yeah, so Sarah worked her little booty off. She had to sit there with me for 3.5 hours and look at that. Look at that. It's all done. Sarah, do you want to come on and just say a little bit about your experience? Talk about what that was like for you?
Yeah, no, it was honestly, well, let me preface it by this. So, Star had sent me the video a week or two ago, and I haven't had a lot of time to myself because I'm a single mom and, but it's funny because I was trying to watch it too, because I'm always trying to watch, like, is there some resistance? Like, what is my resistance? Because now that I've been in your class for a year now, I'm so aware, Star, of things that bubble up that don't have anything to do with the stuff, but will keep, it doesn't matter if it's about the stuff or something else in my life, like a stop. So it's funny because I actually got to the bottom of it Tuesday when I finally watched the video. And my resistance was because it was so hard to do the first time that I was scared. I think there was part of me that was scared to watch it back. But watching it back, like watching the whole video, it not only did it touch on those painful moments, but since I worked through that with you and I felt those feelings and I was able to sit with the uncomfortability of the process, just like we talk about, or you talk about on the training, that moved it out. And I'm not kidding. Like, not only did I get that area clean, I mean, it's stayed clutter free till today. It's like we had the most lovely Thanksgiving, Christmas, and working through that process and getting through that clutter and sitting with those uncomfortable feelings when I was doing it has allowed me to do that in other areas of my life, which is amazing and beautiful and wonderful and something that I never would have thought possible. But with your guidance, it was, and it has, and it's colored almost every other area of my life. So
Sarah, that's beautiful. What do you
yeah.
think is the most what do you think when you were there and we were organizing, right? And all those feelings are coming up and I'm making you get granular? Because for some people's brain types, this granular organizing is just your version of hell. Like some people,
Oh,
it's like, this is just like you may as well be waterboarding someone, it's like, no. So what do you feel like was the thing that broke you through that challenge when you were working on it?
honestly, like I said, I think just riding that wave of uncomfortability. I mean, like I said, watching the video back, that was just 2 nights ago. Like I could almost even feel like even talking about it a little bit right now in the car, I'm like sweating a little bit because it just I think just the unknown and not knowing how to do it. And like you point out in the training, there's moments of what do I say, like maybe healing and confronting, not like in confront, like rah, confront, but just like allowing these pieces of my past to be interwoven seamlessly into my now and accepting where I am now. So it was all that kind of wrapped in like a organizing snowball. I don't know. like, um, that I just, it was almost, like I said, like arriving a wave, or like, when you have your hand out of the car and you just kind of, you feel the resistance of the wind, but you can still kind of make that motion with your hand, and you're okay. I was okay. And yeah, so it was like, it was like building that muscle of, I'm okay when I can confront the stuff that I don't know. And I can confront these things from the past that might have felt harder than they might feel now. Does that
Yeah. Well,
answer
I
that?
think
I don't know.
absolutely. Yeah, totally.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
I speak for everyone when I just say, from the bottom of my heart, Sarah, thank you for being willing to do that session, to be willing to be recorded. It's one of the things that I strive for in these classes that we do together is like, let's normalize this process. Most of us feel so much shame and discomfort around feeling our feelings, around dealing with the clutter. And the fact that you were willing to like bare your soul and be out there in something that is so challenging so that other people can learn. Like, I have not stopped getting emails almost every single day about how this has touched people, how many times they've watched it and what it means to them. So thank you, from the bottom of my heart. And I think I speak for everybody in the room that, thank you for that, because it's powerful, very
Well,
powerful.
but thank you, because you are the amazing North Star that could
Mm.
guide me through that. So
Well,
I'm grateful.
I'm very grateful for you. And I hope I can guide all of us in tonight. I want to guide us past
Yes.
that uncomfortable clutter. And we'll just kind of sail in now to starting that conversation about the wild thing. If you have not seen Sarah's video yet and you want to see it, that training is my gift to you. Go to starhansen.com/crazy making clutter. That is, I mean, it's just over an hour and it's absolutely a treat to watch. It really will make you feel peaceful about the clutter in your home and hopeful about what is possible. And thank you, Sarah, for coming and talking to us tonight and for being here. Let's talk about what makes clutter impossible, right? So what makes clutter impossible? Like, when we talk about impossible clutter, that means a lot of things to a lot of different people, right? So this is clutter that does not have a home. Like I said with Sarah, it's like the stuff that just floats, like you work on one room and then you don't know where it goes. So you move it to another room and then you work on that room. And then you're like, I don't know what to do with this stuff. And then it just keeps moving until you come to this class and you're like, crap, that's what's in the Trader Joe's bag. It's like, oh, I missed that. So it's clutter that does not feel like it has a home. That, like, it's something that you're holding and you're like, I don't know what to do with this. So you shove it somewhere. Right. So that's what part of what it is. Right. It's also clutter at its base that you have not decided if or how it's going to be in your life. Right. You have not fully decided. When you get that button, like when that button comes with the sweater, and like, I don't know about you all, but I've literally never used one of those sweater buttons ever. Sometimes I'm like, is there even a button with this thing? So I've literally never used, and I'm sure the minute I throw one out, I'm going to be like, if I only had that one small white button, it's like, but it's more of like, I don't know if I should keep this or get rid of it. I'm going to hold it here just in case I need it for the next 17 years. It's like, so it's a little bit odd where we're like, I'm not committed to you, Mr. Button, but I'm also like not committed to you. So it's like literally like a cat and mouse game with our stuff. So it's clutter that you haven't decided if or how it's going to be in your life, right? It's also things that keep you from feeling like you actually finish your projects, just like that bag, right? It's like, what is the stuff that keeps you from feeling like you are actually finishing your projects? Right. So it's like I could have felt so good about doing that closet, but I didn't really do that. So I kind of feel like a jerk, it's like I didn't do it. I feel like, I can't claim that victory. I can't stamp my passport. So it's also clutter that is holding you back from feeling free. Any clutter that you can think of that makes you feel like I don't have the freedom that I want to have, or if only that wasn't there, then I would. It's an if then that feeling, that if then that thinking that's going on. It's also emotionally charged items. Anybody have some of those emotionally charged items that it's like, I don't want to know about it. If you don't think you do, just look for the giant pile of stuff somewhere, and it's probably buried at the bottom there, right? Like, I always talk about having this giant pile of clutter in my office one time, and I couldn't figure out what it was doing there. And I finally had a friend come over and we looked at it, and I had like a gut-wrenching item at the bottom that I was very clearly trying to hide. So it's also emotionally charged items. And then this stuff is also the key to your own journey of freedom and unfoldment, right? If we are only as strong as our weakest link, this impossible clutter is our weakest link. These garbage ties, these fast food napkins, these buttons, they are the weakest link that are leading us to our own freedom. And it's so weird. And Sarah can speak to this, right? It's like that was little stuff that she had in there. It was a piece of green construction paper and it was gift cards. It wasn't like it was like, this was an Afghan from my grandmother and it was, she brought it out of Auschwitz. And, it's like, it wasn't any of that really important stuff that might have a huge sentimental heaviness. It's like tiny little stuff that just like all was there. And within that stuff was the story of her freedom. And like she said, she finished and it's opened up every other area of her life. And even actually, and she doesn't say this and I didn't put it in the video, but she got done and we organized for 3.5 hours. She got done and I was like, go have wine, relax, hang out. And what did she do? She organized more. That's how she celebrated that night. She was like so on fire. She wanted more. So know that this stuff, even though it seems very benign, man, this is stuff that's going to catapult you forward. So do not think that those tiny little things are not moving you forward in a really powerful way. It's really important to know. So I want you all to think right now of a piece of impossible clutter. Like what is something that feels impossible for you to manage right now? Like, is it the, plastic utensils from takeout in your drawer that's stopping that drawer from closing? Is it the, the gift cards? Is it receipts that are shoved in a drawer somewhere? Is it like, what is it? Or is it the buttons? Those buttons. Just think of one item and just kind of hold it in your mind. And we're going to ask. So what I find is one of the most powerful things when it comes to getting out of these patterns of being stuck, right? Feeling like impossible is like holding us back, right? It's like it's gotten us frozen. And so what I find to be really powerful is to ask questions, because questions move us into curiosity. So these 5 questions are the questions I want you to ask yourself when you are trying to solve homes and solve pieces of clutter that don't seem like they're finding a home very easily, right? So we're going to talk about that. So the first question is, where is the first place you would think to look for this, right? So like if I said to you, like, Susie, go grab me the, like, where would you tell me to look, right? It's like, okay, where's the first place that you would think of to look for this object, right? Like if you needed a button, where are you going to go for buttons? Where is like the most buttony room in the house, right? And that's like giving you breadcrumbs as to where that's going to go. The other question is, when would you use it, right? Like when would this practically get used? And if you're starting to think to yourself, well, I'm not, like, that's really good information, right? So it's like we start to use this as like how important is it? But also just being like, okay, well, when would it happen? Like really play that out. And if your first question or your first answer is, I don't know, that's okay. Just know that like you do know. So ask yourself, like my question, if I was there with you and I said, where would you actually use this? And you said, I don't know. I would say, if you did know. Like, be creative. Clutter is nothing if not creativity and motion, right? Clutter is, if you look at chaos is the start of creation. Chaos is like, we are a mix of all of these atoms and molecules flying through the air and doing incredible things. And they just came together right now to create you exactly as you are. What a miracle and magic that is, right? So it's like, allow it to be creative, allow yourself to go down that rabbit hole. If there's an object and you're like, I don't know when I would use this whistle, it's like, well, play. Like, would you use it at a party? Would you use it when you're running? Would you use it like, I don't know, like, would you put a one-man band together and like try to be the single Von Trapp family? Like what, like just play with that idea, because then you would really know, am I going to use it or not? Right. The third question is, where are you when you need it? Right? So if you were to need that item, where would you be? Right? And what you want to do is put it as close to that as possible. Like the example we gave in the video was Sarah was talking about a whistle, like almost like a safety whistle, right? And she's like, when I run, and it's like, then put it with your run stuff. Like that's like as close. It may not make sense because it's not like in a whistle home, but like you need to figure out, like, where would I be when I need it? Like, where is the real need? The fourth question is, and this is for anyone who shares space with other beings, furry or human, who else needs access to it? Anyone who's a parent or like a spouse or like even just a roommate, go to find something and then you can't because the humans that you live with have moved it. And you're like, ah, yep, totally. Like, you're like, this thing. So you want to bring that in. You want to not be surprised, right? Like you want to not be surprised that your kids have taken the last Post-it again, because they do that every 3 months again. Like, right. So it's like, who needs access to it and where will they use it? That will help you, instead of being angry and surprised, to really plan for that. Know that it's like, all right, we just need to go to Costco and we're going to buy the biggest thing of Post-its, and I'm going to have some in my room and some over there. And, it's like, but taking that into account, right? Like that's part of the home setup. And finally, what section of a store would you find it in? Like if you were at Target, if you were shopping around, what section would it be in? What section would the buttons be in? What section would the napkins be in? What section? And then that is literally, I mean, all of these questions are to open your brain, to enhance curiosity, to be the breadcrumbs that are leading you down the path to where this little puppy needs to go and live, right? Like all of our objects, that they're going to live in our home, need a real home. Like they really need, if they're going to be in your life, they need a proper home. So knowing this, like if you look at any of those things, so I'm curious, like throw into the chat what your object is, right? Throw into your chat what is the impossible object, right? Those like the little ties for the bread, or like whatever you might have had in your mind, throw that into the chat, because I'm very curious about it, because this is the starting point, right? This is where we begin, and it's those little tiny things that do the most challenge. And so I want to open it up now. Let's talk about your challenging objects, right? So we're going to do a little open Q&A session for the next 30 minutes or so. So I want to just hear your challenging objects and get specific. Let's help you find a home for them. I want you to leave today and feel like, wow, I really got some clarity out of that. So Karen, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I am a writer and I have a day job in financial services. I've worked there 18 years, but I am a creative and I have identified with that finally, saying it out loud. So everything that I write on is sacred. And I put things in notebooks. I have tons of sparkly, glittery notebooks, notebooks with polka dots, pretty stuff. I see some fellow sticker people. Yes, that is me. And so my breakthrough over the past couple of months, I realized that I see the story in every item. I'm like, when I show people, I'm like, oh, this is my husband's Blue Star ointment. I remember when he rubbed my feet with this so that they wouldn't be dry. I mean, like everything, I see the story. And so that's why I don't want to get rid of it, because it has significance. It's like, oh, this was a happy time, this was a sad time, but I'm just so in tune with all of the feelings. So I guess that's that emotionally charged items. But how can everything be emotionally charged? That's
You're so
exhausting.
creative, because like I love everything you're saying, because like you are a storyteller, right? So as a writer, you're a storyteller. So you see the story, you see how that bottle, like when you watch a movie or a TV show, don't think for a second that anything is accidental. It's either been placed there for story or it's because someone paid. There's nothing accidental that you're ever seeing, right? And our homes should kind of be the same way, right? Like how beautiful that you don't just see that bottle of ointment as medicine, and instead you see it as love, right? You're seeing this beautiful, you have the same eyes that I have when I walk into a house. When I see somebody's life laid out there in the piles and the stacks, like it opens my heart in a way that I can't explain. And so it's the same thing with you. It's like you're seeing that and you're feeling that love. And I would never want to turn that off. Like that's your superpower. And so if we say yes to that, right? If we say yes, you are a storyteller, and yes to the beauty of that, the question is then, how do we tell the story of to you in your home in a way that feels good to you? Because like if having that ointment out brings you joy, leave that out, right? Like, yeah, yeah, huge yes to that, right? Like that's what we want. But if there's things that are getting in the way of you seeing that ointment, bye-bye, like then we want to like get it in a home, tuck it away, put it somewhere that's functional. Like, but maybe the difference is maybe you start to address, I think of the Pareto Principle, right? So the 80-20 rule, where we really use 20% of our objects 80% of the time. And so if we have 80% of our objects out, those 20% are kind of buried. It's like, we're like, whoa, it's like a visual assault, an energetic assault when we walk in and we're like, there's a lot happening in this space right now, right? So if you were telling the story of your life, if you are there to curate the experience for you so that when you walk into your home, like, what would that look like? And what a beautiful experience to think of organizing not as a removal of objects, but a building, a creation, right? Because then you get to choose what colors you're painting your walls with. And I love your color of your walls, by the way. And like you get to choose the way that you're creating the elements of your life and home. Like, that gives me goosebumps to think about organizing being a creative endeavor instead of a removal. Like, oh, I'm so bad and I have too much stuff, and like, rah, that kind of way we beat ourselves up, instead of, yes, like, oh my gosh, like, I want to come to your house right now. I want to see it right now. Like, I know. Oh my gosh, I love it. Does that help? Does it feel like that, like, shifts your mindset or opens anything?
It does. And I just want to share with everybody, total strangers who are now my family, I love y'all. This year, a friend of mine who I just look at and probably put her on a pedestal, like, I know she's got her whole life together. She shared with me a house cleaner that she has, and she was like, I love Tammy. She just makes my life better. And I am finally at the place where I can invite someone in to help me. And so when she came and did a walkthrough, she was like, oh, I love your house. She was like, oh, I just want to help you. And I was like, I think that I found my star here in Charlotte, like, to be a partner. I was like, I think that I'm going to be able to release some things and to say goodbye to them, and instead of like trying to hold on to everything and knowing that it was really burying me and taking away some energy. So thank you for all the seeds that you planted through the years. It took that much to get me to this point. And I did have that shame for her coming in, but I'm like, I still didn't show her under my bathroom cabinet, but I did show her my closet. So
Wow, that's huge, Karen.
and she was like, oh, I can see. So that's what I needed, somebody with vision, because I'm like, I just see that it's all jumbled up here and they're all important to me. And she was like, oh, no, if we color code this, but she was like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And I was like, okay, so I have a partner, I have help. And so we're building trust, and it's going to be a process, but it took me a while to get here, but I'm really excited to be making progress.
I'm so proud of you, Karen. It's no small thing. Everybody just give Karen a lot of love right now, because it is no small thing to let someone into your home that's a stranger, to let a group of people that you just met tonight in his family, right? It's no small thing. And yet that's where the healing lies. It's when we can sit in this room with other people and not be alone, to not feel like, oh, I've got to be ashamed and hide it, because you don't. Like, you are beautiful and incredible exactly as you are, clutter and all. And I do feel like when we invite people into our lives, like, maybe you invited me in first through email, right? Maybe you just were like, okay, this girl seems okay. She doesn't seem too terrifying. Like, I'll let her emails come to me. And then slowly it was like, oh, I can go to that class. And then, it's like, as you start to open up, the universe starts to meet you there and brings you, the friend, brings you the housekeeper, brings, it's like, brings these steps of opening and unfoldment. And how beautiful, Karen, for you to be open to that and ready for that and willing to receive it. Because, we could have a blessing right in our face and we could turn our backs on it. And you're saying, yes, and I did this, I'm ready, and I'm going into the next level with this. And so I celebrate you tonight, Karen, and I'm so grateful that you're here. And I'm so grateful that you've been here these last few years. I'm just so honored to have you in the room.
Thank you so much, Star.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Who would like to go next? Feel free to raise your hand or pop in. Amy.
All right. Hi.
Hi.
Well, I thought of a few things, but they have something in common. I couldn't just pick one. So glass jars, love them, bags, and boxes. They're all like storage. So you're saying, where would I keep them in the house? I'm like, everywhere.
Anyone else? Do we have any other bag people? Bag ladies is what I normally say, like the bag ladies of the world. I know there's some people who are not on camera who are who are in this world also. It's so, honestly, Amy, I wish you knew how many bag ladies were in the world with you. You're so not alone. Especially, and who doesn't help this is Apple. Apple makes just the most delicious bags where you're like, I should make a small boat out of this and sail the world. Like, they make them so good that you're like, I don't want to get rid of them. The same with the boxes. So I get it, Amy. So what quantity of boxes do you have, like boxes, bags, and
Well, I think just because I did the kitchen and I put them all together, that's when I'm like, wow, I really like these glass jars. I probably had about 15. And the bags with COVID, that for so long we couldn't bring our own bags to the market. So they were giving these nice, heavier bags. So it's not just pretty bags, it's the plastic bags.
So
That
like
I probably
gift
have.
bags, like gift bags and totes.
Yes, and those two.
Awesome. So yeah, so okay, so let's start with the glass jars. So how would you use the glass jar? So notice that my first option in, everybody, is a question. So your first thing that you always want to attack with is a question, because asking the question opens the potential. So with the glass jars, so we want to narrow it on one. So with the glass jars, when would you use these?
When I need to put something in it, mostly the
Like
buttons.
kitchen stuff, or
Mostly, I would kitchen stuff, yes.
but not like, or would you use it for like general home organizing, or?
Less of that, more in the kitchen.
Awesome. So more like food, like maybe if you were to store some rice or you opened a bag of pasta, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would just say, so to me, glass jars end up being in a food storage. Like, so for me, my glass jars are stored right next to my Tupperware.
Mhm.
So it's there because I want to just grab, when I make a lot of soups, and I just, cause like I have this like single woman inside of me, no matter if I'm in a relationship or not, I'm like, I must make food to prepare for the next 3 months as I'll be alone and busy. It's like, I'm like acting like I'm always like hibernating for winter, but like, I always use those in the kitchen, and it literally, like a small part of me dies every time I have to use plastic. Every time a Ziploc bag comes out, I'm like, and an angel lost its wings today. It's like, so feeling like, I have like a responsible option just feels really nice. So maybe they go in the kitchen next to the food storage. And for some of us, if you have the space, it's great. You just extend the space. And for some of us, then it's just, we have to start making tough decisions. Like, if I'm going to include this in there, where does it fit in the kitchen? And, and what you want is, if it's going to be in the food storage category, it needs to be accessible. So even if it can't be right next to your food storage, if your kitchen doesn't allow for that, you don't want to have to climb on 3 ladders and 2 cabinets to get to it. So keep it, we talk about that power area, right? So like, extend your arms, and like wherever is within arm's reach, that's what you want to, put it into. So, okay, what about the bags? So I'm guessing that we have gift bags as well as reusable totes and plastic paper bags from the stores.
Yes.
Yes. So 3 distinct different categories. So why this is important is, gift bags probably don't go in the kitchen, but the reusable bags and the actual plastic and paper probably do, right? It's like, so what you always want to ask yourself is, when am I going to use this? And so with the gift bags, it's like, well, where do I like to wrap? Where do I like to wrap things? And so you want to put that as close to where you wrap as possible, so that you're not having to go and dig it out and make a whole project and a whole thing. And then with the plastic bags, I don't know. So I did something really cute, you guys. Can I show you? Can we have a show and tell moment? Because I just did it and I felt so proud, and like, no one. Okay, so talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back in like 5 seconds. So this was actually inspired by someone who I think is in the room tonight. So Jerry, if you're here, this one's for you, my friend. So we have the cat box in our quadrant of the world. And so it's in the master bath. As I just wish the cat would learn to potty train herself. And like, that would be my dream, but I don't think that's going to happen. She's like well established in her routine. But so we have the cat box in there, and I am a frequent cleaner of the cat box. And we have, from COVID, all these beautiful plastic bags. So what I did is I made this little tissue box, and then I just attach them to each other. So as I grab one, the next one is ready and available. And then I grab one, and then the next one is ready and available. And it looks so cute, doesn't it? It's like, I just love it so much. It's so nerdy. Like, I showed my boyfriend, and he was like, oh, that's nice. And I was like, it's brilliant. It's not nice. That was functional. Every time I take one out, I feel like that angel got its wings back. It's amazing every time. So this made me so happy. So like, having this, like, we have the bulk of our bags in the kitchen. And then I have this nice little nest stored in the bathroom, so that when I change the kitty box, I'm just like, there you are, darling. And I just keep going. And I've taken 3 out, but it takes nothing to put them back. And I just love it. So yeah, so that's.
I love that idea.
Thank
'Cause
you.
I saved a bunch because my husband's like, we don't need that many bags. And I said, if I use it once, once more, I feel better. So some of them are with the cat box, but I'll put them in the tissue box.
So
Yeah.
much. Because then you're helping the tissue box last longer. The bags are lasting longer. It's like a quadruple win situation. Yeah, it's like these little things. And that's so actually, and I got that from someone in the membership. So Jerry had come up with all these, Jerry's like an incredible researcher, and she came up with all these brilliant ideas for storing plastic bags. And it was amazing. And she shared them on the Facebook group, and it was like pretty epic. Oh yeah, she did. There's a YouTube video about it. And it was actually, so I was completely inspired. See, you all inspire me. I don't have all the answers, right? I just show up with some of the answers, and then we just have a party with some of the answers. So Amy, does that help? Do you feel like your answers arrived?
Yes, thank you.
You're awesome. Thank you. Okay, who wants to go next? Oh, how do I attach them? So someone asked, how do you attach them so that they come out like tissue? So I shove one in there, and then I take the handle of one of them, and then I slide the bag through, and I'll show you when I mute. And then I shove it down, and then I do the next one, and then the next one, and they just pull right out like they were meant to be. And it's not like, I am so anti any system that is incredibly fussy. Like I don't color code things. If it is going to take a lot of time, energy, and bandwidth, I'm just not going to do it. I am like the laziest when it comes to folding it's like, I'd rather be doing 8,000 other things. I don't know about you. So some people love that stuff, and it's just not my deal. So yeah. So to me, I need it to be able to be like shoved in there in 2 seconds and look pretty. Can I have it all? I can have it all. I've got it all right here. All right. I'm going to share a couple ideas. So let's talk about the kitchen. Y'all, let's talk about the fact that those fast food napkins and takeaway cutlery, that stuff, and that soy sauce that you're never actually going to use, but you have it. Yeah. It's like all that stuff. Or if you haven't, use it. So most kitchens have this giant half a drawer at least that is dedicated to just all this stuff that came from takeaway food, like chopsticks and soy sauce and ketchup. If you're in Tucson, Arizona, probably ranch from EG's. It's like a real thing. They give you like 8,000 when you go, you use one, but you're like, I just might need these 800 other ranches for later. And the ranch is really good. So I honestly have used it. So it's not unheard of what they're doing. But so when we look at that, it's like, think about for the volume of space that is taking up in your kitchen, you better be using it all the time for the volume it's taking up. And yet, how many of you have used any of that in the last month? It's not a thing, right? And who feels incredibly guilty the minute you go to throw it away? Like, it's just like, I can't. Yeah, totally. Susie's like, no. Susie's like, we're going to learn from Susie here. Susie's like, hard pass. I don't feel guilty. Get out of my life. But like, so I'm a believer of a couple different things. Do you remember reduce, reuse, recycle? And then when they introduced refuse, like, let's bring back refusal. I am notorious for saying no. I mean, I say yes to a lot in my life, and I'm like a big yes all the way. Totally. Yes. But if you try to give me something that is going to come into my house and become clutter, I become like a hard pass. Get it away from me. So like when I call in order for takeout, I'm like, and please, we don't need any cutlery. We have all of our own stuff. I don't need any sauces. Thank you. I have my own stuff. And if I see it in there, I give it back to them there. Because what I'm trying to do is stop it at the supply chain. Look, we're all dining at home right now for the most part, right? And how hard is it to take a handful of that cutlery and put it in your car so that if you do dine out, you can reuse the stuff that's already out there? But we're trying to like say no to the source, so they're not making it and giving it all the time. And if those restaurants are stuck with stuff that they're not using, they're going to stop ordering as much. We're going to need to have less when we already have so much already. So don't be afraid to say no. You having boundaries, organizing is so much about setting boundaries. Don't you think? It's like, how do I set the parameters of what is okay for me? Like, I would rather have a really amazing drawer devoted to just my baking items, or devoted just to things that I use every single day for juicing or whatever, right? So it's like, we are curating, like what we talked about with Karen, is like, we are curating our homes, every single space. So when you are giving space to something that you have no intention of using, right? You are giving some of that life force away, that energy away, that power away. And I want you to have all of that inside of you. So that's my soapbox for tonight, everyone. I hope you enjoyed coming to the soapbox for the thing. Who would like to go next? Nancy?
Hi, sorry,
Hi.
I just got home from the dog park, literally.
Yay.
So, you see me in the dark.
We'll take it.
So I know, yeah, you're not lying about E.G.'s Ranch though. It's delicious, and it is worth saving. But I know I'm just as guilty of like being stuck in the middle of things right now, because you know what we've done in my house, and sometimes I'm right now I'm trying to regain my balance, and so I'm trying to tell myself that I'm going to spend an hour every night going through everything that we've already done and refining it and getting more things out. So, but you know, then I get home and then I've got to take Hope to the park because I only got to do that one night a week, and then so sometimes I'm lacking my motivation for going forward, and that's kind of my thing right now, which sucks, but I'm trying to make myself do it. I think I just need to do a to-do list for at home.
Yeah.
And be like, all right, this is what we're doing when we get home tonight. So
Yeah, I love that, Nancy. I love the idea of having a to-do list, if nothing else, but it lets it get out of your brain and into a format you can work with, right? Like it's, as long as the ideas of what we need to do are in our head, it stops us in a couple ways. We can't strategize it properly. We can't see what goes first and what goes next and how that should flow. We can't see things we're missing, right? And we
Right.
also have that weight on us of just like, I've got to do all this stuff, and if I don't do it, I'm going to forget about it. And you choose the thing that creates the most urgency, the fire that you've got to put out. And then you're being bossed around by your clutter, instead of, like, the truth is that if we make that list and you make those tasks bite-sized, right? Like a problem would be like redo front closet. That could take you 10 years to do. It's like any of us could redo our front closet or our front whatever. And it might take us we could take 8 hours to do it, right? Or 4 hours. But if you just said, grab bag of donations and put in the car, that's 5 minutes. So when you are having those days where you don't have a lot of bandwidth and you are going to take Hope to the park and you're going to do, when you're going to do these other things, or you're just tired and you'd rather watch an episode of something, you have something that makes you feel like I'm still getting something done. And that's what I want. Is I don't want you all to feel like go big or go home, right? Like go big or go home. Like, yes, there's times for that. And there's times that that's helpful, but really it's more important that you just get on the board, right? That you just allow yourself to get on the board and say, like, I'm going to do this 5-minute thing tonight. And then tomorrow I might do a 10-minute thing. Because wouldn't you rather feel like you got something done in 5 minutes than nothing? Wouldn't you just feel like,
oh gosh.
yeah. Yeah. So it's like maybe all you do, Nancy, is you make a list of 20 5-minute projects. Maybe that's enough, just to feel like, okay, I can get a win, and know that this will shift for you. Like sometimes, like I have someone in one of my programs who, when we first started, she only wanted 20-minute activities. She's like, I'm not doing anything more than 20 minutes. And that was great. And then she got to a point where she was like, now I want 40-minute activities. And then, and she might go through a phase where she wants 10-minute activities or 2-hour activities. Like anyone who knows, when I am organizing in someone's home, I don't show up for fewer than 8 hours. I just don't. Like, I'm like, I know where my sweet spot is, and it's long days. Like if you've worked in the in-person, you're being taken down a rabbit hole, right? And even for me, like when I look at some, task management techniques, right? Like the Pomodoro, where it's like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, like you're making me stop before my brain is even going. So it's really important for you to know what your brain needs, like what chunk of time works best for you, and then build your organizing tasks around that, like, and if you feel allergic to organizing right now, then, pick tiny, minuscule projects, because eventually when you feel like you've gotten some wins, those bigger things are going to feel good. Or like Sarah did, you're going to do that thing that made you feel like you were eating glass, and then turn around and not collapse on yourself like you thought you would. You're going to be inspired and do 10 more things, Yeah. Do you think you could make a list of 20 5-minute things?
Probably, but it would probably be more like 10 to 20 minute things because I have so many things to do right now.
Yeah. Okay. So while we're on this call, while I take the next question, the last question of our night, I just want you to make that list. Make a list of 10-minute activities or 20-minute activities or 5-minute activities, but make that list. Have at least 20 things on there. And then I would love to see in the comments how it went. So do it. Oh. So it's that kind of thing where we have to really watch ourselves, because I know me. And if I have to put on my list to make a list, guess what's not getting done? But if I just stop and take 3 minutes right now to make that list, guess what's done? And I actually have a foot in. Yes. So do that. And anyone else who feels like, oh yeah, I could use a 10-minute list or a 5-minute list or a 20-minute list, do it right now. We are here. This is your time to do that stuff. So do that list. If you're feeling a little stifled and you're unsure of what comes next, make that list. We are right here with you. We are here for you. All right. So who is next? We have time for one more. So anyone have a burning desire or last question or statement? You can also share if you're wanting to share a win or whatever you're feeling. Maria. Hi. Let me get you unmuted. Oh, there you go.
There. So I received a box of stuff from my parents' house. They're closing the estate. So it's a box of some of my leftover stuff. And so a lot of it was photos. So I've set that aside, to deal with later. But one of the things in there, and this is so ridiculous to me, but it's an emblem of, used to be on a sweater I had from the 9th grade cheerleading. It's an emblem. And I kept it I guess they kept it, they had it and I didn't have it. Now it's in front of me. And every time I walk by it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't even deal with it. And it's just this emblem of a megaphone, and it has the school initials on it, and I have trouble with memorabilia. I don't have a lot of it, but I usually throw it into a box, and it's sitting out right now because I don't even want to go to the memorabilia box because I don't want to start down that trail because I'm doing so many other things. So I'm just curious, I was going through the 5 questions, and I wouldn't use it, you know what I mean? And yet I'm stuck. It's one of those things I'm getting stuck on.
Do you ever see a time where you would want to, when you look at that, do you feel like, oh, that's so cool? Or what do you feel when you see it?
Just, I feel not like it's cool at all. I feel like, oh, time's gone really fast. And I actually have some thoughts of, there were some fun times associated with, but some hard times in my growing up family during that time. But that little portion, that little thing that has some fun stuff associated with it. And I think, and part of me sometimes thinks, oh, do I want my kids to see this so that my grown adult kids, so they think, oh, I don't know, she did something kind of fun. I don't know. It's really weird.
Well, and I think memorabilia is one of the most complicated conversations, right? That's actually, we're going to do a class just on memorabilia this year. I think maybe in April or May, we're going to do that. It's no small thing because of that. It's a small emblem that lays flat, that takes up almost no space. And yet when you see it, you have a mix of uncomfortable feelings because it reminds you of some unhappy childhood memories. You have feelings of happiness of remembering the fun, right? You have hope that your children will see you as a cool person, right?
Mhm.
It's like all of this mixed in, and then you feel like, oh, I'm beating myself up because I don't know what to do with it.
Mhm.
And then you walk away.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, so we have to, when we're like chasing a tiger, we've got to just like pick a path. Right. So it's like, okay, so if this is complicated, okay, so let's play out the worst case scenario. What's the worst thing about getting rid of it? If you just said, you know what, this isn't bringing me a lot of joy in my life, what if you got rid of it?
Yeah, I've actually been thinking about that, just like get rid of it and no one would ever know the difference. um yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you, and so would that bring you joy? Would you feel lighter if you did that?
um probably 75%.
And what's
I
the
think,
last 25?
yeah, I think it's the last 25 is just the idea that just of I think it keeps going back to, I don't know if this is, it keeps going back to I think my kids thinking that I, not so much that if I was, just that I did something besides, 'cause I haven't like traveled the world or anything like that, or um, maybe that I used to just have fun, you know.
Like that
I
you were more
wasn't,
than just a mom, like you were more than a mom.
yeah. Hmm.
Anybody else feel like that? Feel like you want to be known as more than just one role that you were in? Yeah, it's really normal to have that feeling, Maria. I just want to name that. Like it's for whether
Oh,
you're,
that's really helpful to hear.
you're not, I mean, I mean, I long to be known as not an organizer. Like it's, I know people clean their house for 3 days when I come to visit, and it always makes me a little sad because I'm like, no, I'm just Star. I'm just like this girl from Tucson. Like, I just want to come and hang out with you. Like, I don't need you to clean for me. I don't even notice that's, it's like, we all have these roles that we have been a part of that, and it's beautiful. It's a blessing to have the roles that we have, but then also to long to be known for something else, to long to be something else. So I wonder, Maria, so one of two things. So we want to really honor that. So that 25% is louder than the 75%. Do you notice that? It's only
Yeah.
25, but it's louder. So we want to listen to it, because if we don't listen to it, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's going to keep taking up more space until we finally pay attention to it. So one of two things would be my guess of what would be helpful. Either you make a box of Maria's cool stuff that she's done, like Maria's life that she's lived, right? And you fill that, right? You create a box that of the stuff that you did that tells the story of who you are, in addition to role of mom and role of wife. So maybe that becomes something that you enjoy just for you, right? Maybe it just becomes something that even for you, it's like to remind yourself of who you are. And notice when that box is not full, that you still have time. You have time to create more memories, to be whatever you want to be in this life. Like being a parent takes a lot of time, energy, finances. Like it really locks you in, right? Even a furry baby parent, you're like locked into it, right? So it's a big deal, and it's a hard transition to go from single freebie to mama to free and joyful. It's like it takes a minute to like grease those gears, and so really allow for that space. So the first option is build a box that honors and celebrates that part of you. Don't think of that megaphone as a piece of clutter. Think of it as a part of your story, a story that you want to tell. Like Karen, you are a storyteller, and you are wanting to tell the part of your story that your kids wouldn't know. And they probably will think it's really amazing to look at. Like you said what it was, and I was like, oh, I want to see. Can we see it? It's like, and the other option is you can choose to let it go, and you can say, you know what, doesn't bring me a lot of joy. It's too mixed in with some painful memories. Instead, this is my reminder that I want to take action in this next chapter. In my empty nest mode, I want to start making plans for what comes next. What do I want to do? What do I want to give myself to? And maybe, Maria, your plan is a hybrid of both. Maybe it's like a mixing of those two things, but really saying like, I want to create something, like I'm ready for something new. And who am I now? And this is like a big, big deal for us to reimagine parts of ourselves, like to watch certain doors close and others open, and doors open we didn't know were there or hoped never would be there, and really allowing for that. It's like we have so many transitions in our lives. I think of the last few years for me, like really looking at that motherhood badge and being like, am I gonna get to do that thing? Am I okay closing that door? Like, the dance of that. People who have parents or who become parents when they're young, it's like, that's a door that you have to like open and close. Transitioning out of, like transitioning out of parenthood into the next chapter, discovering if you still like your spouse after 20 years, right? It's like, there's a lot of doors. Losing your parents and having to make peace with that feeling of being an orphan in this chapter, right? It's like there's so many layers and doors to open. And so we want to honor those. So Maria, my invitation to you is to sit with this tonight and really ask yourself, what honors me the most? What honors my journey? And what brings me the most joy? In less joy, actually, and more what makes me feel like I'm at home within myself. I'm at home within myself.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. That was beautiful sharing. I just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me be your community. Thank you for letting me be your family tonight. Thank you for creating a safe space for everybody who showed up. This is a very powerful, like, life transforming work that we're doing, and you are a part of it. You are so important, and I wouldn't be here without you. So thank you. Congratulations for taking this time for yourself tonight, for being willing to show up. I am so grateful for the time that I get to spend with you. It is so beautiful to talk to you and see you and engage with you in this way. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Have a beautiful, beautiful night.